For the longest time, I was a rambling kid. I had a million ideas running through my mind. I was learning new things, making connections. I was excited and tried to catch anyone. My parents, my friends, my cousins, my grandparents, whoever would listen. I would tell them about all of these exciting things. And they all looked at me confused. The better ones with a little bit more patience would say, oh, let me ask you a few questions, try to figure out what you're trying to say. But most people were they were confused. And it made me feel so defeated. I'm learning all these cool things. How come no one understand what I'm trying to say? How come I couldn't get my point across? I thought it was my operating system. I thought I was just scattered thinker. I couldn't organize the thoughts in my head. Maybe I didn't know what I was talking about. But then I went into consulting, I met frameworks, and I realized all of these excited ideas just needed a little bit of structure to go into in order for other people to understand what I'm saying. So today we're getting to the bottom of what is it that makes us ramble and how can we use frameworks to fix that really quickly. So let's get to it. First of all, there are three things that cause us to ramble. Number one is we don't actually have a point in mind. And this is 1000% natural because if we think about it, thoughts are just nebulous blobs of electric signals happening in our synapses. And so when we try to put it into words, there's actually a translation process. And especially if we're doing it for the first time, on the spot, under pressure, then yeah, it's going to be one of the hardest things to do. There is, of course, a framework that helps us direct our thoughts towards having a thought first. So we'll cover the framework in 1 second, but because of this, we also don't practice because we see other people, very articulate public speakers, politicians, authors, and we think, damn, they're speaking in verses, they're speaking with numbers, they know what they're talking about, they're so smart. But of course, we don't see the process that they go through, taking those nebulous thoughts, putting them into words multiple times. And so that's the first thing that holds us back from speaking articulately. The second thing that's missing is structure. I still remember the day I learned the phrase stream of consciousness. This was grade 10 English. We're reading Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. And it was just the character going on and on without beginning, middle, end, through any thoughts that come in her mind. And I thought, damn, this is brutal, but also realizing, actually, this might be what I do in real life as well. And so many other people do in real life out loud because usually we don't have a point. And so we think out loud, right? We think through, sometimes chronologically, about all of the research that we've done. So let's go through the details of those so I can process them as I speak. And then go through all of the things I thought of as I was talking about the research. Okay, so we're going through all of the details, not getting to a point. So of course, there is no structure when we ramble. Again, if we introduce a little bit of a structure with a framework, then everything becomes so much clearer. I'll cover the framework we'll use in 1 second, but let's get to the third thing that's missing, and that is specificity. This one I didn't realize until I spent some time dissecting clear thinkers, clear writers, clear speakers. What is it about them? It actually isn't their ideas are novel and insightful. I mean, lots of people have very insightful and novel ideas. What clear speakers do is they sharpen those ideas with specificity. Again, there's activity we can do in order to help us practice bringing specificity to what we're saying. So let's get to all of the frameworks and tools. First, when we lack a point, what do? The easiest thing to get to the point is to use the word one. The one thing you must know about this topic is X. You want to use your language to guide your thinking, and you want to be able to think for yourself before you even ramble, even have a chance to ramble. Think about what is this one thing I'm going to talk about. Now, you might find that when you use the sentence, nothing groundbreaking comes up, right? Let's say, you're talking about a marketing campaign. It's just, you say, the one thing you need to know about this marketing campaign is that it is successful. Okay, not great, but the saving grace is, number one, you're already better than 80% of people out there who would start with, oh, let's talk about the marketing campaign. 3 months ago, we had this discussion where we talked about 5 different options. And then we decided on this one thing. And then we did all this research. And then we combined it with this and that and cross-function, blah, blah, blah. Like dribble. And 10 minutes in, you still don't know what's happening with the marketing campaign. So already, number one, at least you give a direction. Things went well. And then you can go into the details and expand on that. The other thing is you have a chance to refine your point. Right? Just because your opening line was the one thing you need to know is it was successful. Okay, great. As you talk through it, you might see for yourself that, oh, actually the point is not just it was successful, but actually we had great customer feedback. And that was really why this was so successful. Your point doesn't have to be set in stone. You have flexibility as you talk to refine it. So remember, the first thing when you introduce a point is use the number one and start with the one thing you need to know. All right, the second thing is just because you introduce the point doesn't mean you are immune from rambling, right? We still need some structure. If you've attended any of my workshops or my live courses, you know that improv and frameworks work so well together to help us think on our feet and get our point across. So here I'm going to introduce a framework from improv, which is a 3-line scene. The first line sets the scene, and we already have the line from the last framework, which is the one thing you need to know about topic is X. Everyone knows the topic, everyone knows what you want to talk about. It's very clear, everyone's on the edge of their seat. Okay, tell me more. Now enters the second line, which adds depth. And you can add depth in 2 ways. Number one is you go deeper and you say, what I mean by X is. So you explain a little bit more, right? Last time we said it was the one thing was successful. So we can say, what I mean by success is that customers loved it. They are proactively, voluntarily creating hashtag gift a bear for us. They are doing all these challenges. Word of mouth spread crazily. They're reaching out to us, giving us new product ideas. I mean, everyone was all over it. We had such great sign up after the campaign. Or you can add some depth by introducing a surprise, right? Something that people wouldn't know if they were just staying on the surface. So this one, it could be the one thing you need to know about the marketing campaign is it's a success, but the surprising thing about the success is our customers are not coming back for repeat purchases. Oh, why? Now you've got people really on the edge of their seat. They want to know the reason. Then you bring the third line in. What's next? And again, you have 2 options. You can either open up the conversation with a question, or you can close the conversation with an answer. So let's say we open up with a question. We can ask, and the question is, how do we find out why they're not buying repeat purchases? Discuss. Right now we've opened up the floor, everyone can contribute, or you can bring the answer and use the phrase, and it's because. And it's because customers didn't want to give the same gift twice to different people. So we need to come up with new SKUs in order to satisfy customer need. All right, now let's introduce some specificity. Now, you probably would have realized that in the improv framework already there were prompts for specificity, right? We're talking about what I mean by, right? We're talking about the surprising thing. We're talking about and because this and that. So we're already trying to dig at details. But let me throw in another framework that you can use to practice noticing specificity, and that is via negativa. I've covered this on the channel before. You can check it out here as well. In a nutshell, it means what it is not rather than what it is. Sometimes it's really difficult to articulate exactly what something is, but it's easier to say what it's not. Like, what do I want in life? I don't know. I mean, there's so many things. What do I not want in life? Okay, I can tell you that with an excruciating amount of detail, especially when we're on the spot, we're under pressure. This is an easy way to help us rethink what are we trying to say? What is the specific things that people need to understand? So if you find yourself, swimming on the surface, unable to bring some specificity, give via negativa a try. In our marketing campaign example, it would be saying something like, the one thing you need to know about our marketing campaign is that it was a success. And the success came not from people loving the bear, but it came from them loving the easy gifting process. So they're not focused on the product, but they're focusing on the process. So what we should do is double down on this easy gifting idea and come up with more alternatives than just a bear in order to satisfy the customer need. Just like that, we went from let me walk you through all the details about all this marketing campaign's history and the discussions into something very clear, right? It was a success. Here's what we found out. Let me give you some details and surprises. And so what we should do next. So if you enjoyed this, check out Fundamental Thinking Framework to speak clearly, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.